I'm Matt Gilhooly, and this is The Life Shift, candid conversations about the pivotal moments that change lives forever. Welcome to the Life Shift podcast. This is actually a bonus update episode where I wanted to share a couple updates with you about new processes, more recording, new music, subscriptions, all sorts of cool stuff. The most important thing is going to be that I'm starting to record the episodes again, and I'm very excited about it because selfishly, it's my favorite part to have these conversations, have authentic, candid conversations about the pivotal moments that have really changed people's lives forever. So the first thing that I wanted to share, though, is that I have a brand new setup. I just finished my pandemic master's degree, which is what I'm calling it, at the University of Florida. And I took the last couple of weeks off of recording for the podcast so that I could finish up my capstone course. And I graduated a couple weeks ago. Super proud of myself for that. But because I graduated, I bought myself a brand new MacBook Air so that I can record the podcast on it. I can do the editing. I can do the videos for YouTube, all that fun stuff. A close family member purchased a new microphone setup for me. So hopefully you're hearing a different sound that is better and more crisp and more professional. I'm still working on the settings and the compressors and all those pieces. So bear with me, but I have a couple months, I guess, to figure that out because I'm so far ahead. So I'll talk about that in a second. But I am working with my cousin right now. We're trying to figure out a new audio intro and outro for the show. I do love the audio that I have right now, and there's really no problem with it besides the fact that I downloaded it on a royalty-free site so other people could use it if they wanted to. And when I upload the videos to YouTube, I get a little copyright claim notice, which isn't a strike and it's not against any copyright because it is royalty-free, copyright-free. I'm able to use it. It's just because the person that made the music also has it on YouTube, just with a note saying, hey, download this and you can use it. And so it kind of, I guess, is like, hey, there's something on here that already has this music. Where'd you get it? So we're working on something new that maybe has a similar vibe, but is uniquely mine and composed by my cousin. So stay tuned for that. Hopefully with the new episodes starting late October, you might hear something new there. I've also been connecting with podcasters on LinkedIn just to kind of learn from them, figure out what's in the industry, how I can get further into the industry and work on other podcasts in addition to this one. But nearly all of them said that you should set up a subscription model so that if people want to support you, they can, and they might get something from it. So I'm going to start small. The first thing I'm going to start with is an opportunity to get the episodes ad-free so that you won't hear any episodes starting with an ad, having an ad in the middle, and then an ad at the end. And so that's the lower tier. And then there's another tier that has the ad-free versions of the episodes, but also an early release. And I haven't figured that part out yet. I don't know if I'm just going to release the episodes like a couple days early or maybe a week early if I'm able to stay as far ahead as I am now, so that you have access to episodes before other people. So there's more of an incentive there. So that's what I'm going to do. I'll let you guys know about that. I have to record a couple things that would remind you of it if you aren't a subscriber. So listen for that. My most exciting update news for me is that I'm going to start recording again very soon. I'm going to be looking for about 10 people to close out 2022. But since I want to keep this podcast going, I'm definitely interested in getting stories recorded for 2023 as well. So if you can spread the word, or if you know someone that might be interested in sharing their story on the Life Shift podcast, please have them go to www.thelifeshiftpodcast.com, and they should be able to contact me there. Once I hear from people, I usually send them a survey, which they fill out a couple pieces of information, not too much, because I like to have really authentic conversations. And then we just kind of strategize for when best to record and when it will be released. So these new episodes won't be released until late October because I still have a collection of episodes that are ready to go and scheduled through then, which I'll tell you about in a second. The last thing I want to ask from you is if you are enjoying these episodes, if you would rate the show 5 stars and review it on Apple Podcasts. That will help kind of expose the podcast to new listeners and kind of give them insight into what other people think about the show. So finally, I just want to give you a little bit of a preview to what's coming ahead and some of these episodes that I've already recorded, I've already scheduled, they're good to go, ready to go. So this coming week, I'm going to talk to my friend Noelle. Well, I already talked to her, but in the episode, I talked to my friend Noelle, and we went to the same gym together a few years ago. And then after seeing her regularly for a few weeks or maybe longer, she suddenly wasn't there anymore, like over a weekend. And so I found on social media that she had moved to Spain. So I wanted to talk to her about this kind of sudden move because it was fairly quick in a decision to head over there. And she headed over there at the end of 2019, which, as you know, was only a few months before the pandemic started and lockdowns happened. So we talk a lot about finding home in a new place when everything shut down. After that, I talked to my friend Ashley, who I met on LinkedIn. She's a wonderful human being with a beautiful story, but the story stems from childhood trauma. So I do want to say that that might have like a little bit of a trigger warning. So if talking about dark moments in someone's life is triggering for you, you might want to skip that episode. But what most people really enjoy about the Life Shift podcast is what happens after these moments and what we're able to make from them. And Ashley's story is super inspiring, and she's really created a beautiful life for herself and her family after a really dark moment. And then in early September, I talked to Dr. J. Rodriguez, and we talk about how he made a connection with a mentor and how that really changed his life. But his pivotal moment revolves around a final wish that his mentor made on around the time that he was passing away, and how Dr. J was able to fulfill that final wish after the fact. And so that was a very interesting conversation. Then I talked to my friend Heather about a sudden, unexpected divorce and how she was able to find resilience and the real meaning of her life and who she is as an individual after a life of what she felt was a normal, long-term marriage with kids and good jobs and those kind of things. But what's really cool about the conversation is really how she found the authentic version of herself. So I think this will help a lot of people that are kind of going through divorces or something that's kind of sudden and changes their life in that way, their family life. After that, I talked to my friend Hondu about his addiction to alcohol and how close to the end it really got for him and what made him change and what made him seek help and how he found the space and the grace to recover and continue to inspire others through his sobriety journey. And that one was a really tough conversation to have, but I think it's so valuable because it shows how we can move through these moments that are frightening and often people do not recover from. So let's look out for that one in September. Then I talked to my friend Corey on a little bit of a lighter note about how he was able to, or how he chose to retire in his 30s from public service as a cop, and how breadcrumbs along the way in his life from when he was a kid and the things he was obsessed with, playing with, and doing turned into his ability to create a business out of it and set his own rules and his own, kind of boundaries of what he wants to do and how he wants to live his life, which is a nice light moment there. After that, I talked to a high school friend, Erica, about her fertility journey and trying to create a family that she's always dreamed of. And we talk about how she had successes in the fertility journey. And then she had another success. And then she found out it was twins. And then she found out that one of the twins might have special needs. But the conversation isn't really so much about the fertility journey as it is about how she felt at each of these moments and how sometimes those feelings did not match what society tells us that we should feel in a certain way or what other people expect you to feel. So I think this episode will really be helpful to mothers and people going through those types of journeys, whether it's infertility or having a child with special needs. So look out for that episode with Erica in September. And then in October, my last two recorded episodes, one is with Jenny Wood. She's a Google executive. And there was a New York Times article written about this story, and I wanted to talk to her about it. So we did. And her journey is all about why not take the risks, because why not? What if they don't work out? So what? So her story is about sitting on a New York subway train and seeing the guy that she wanted to marry and telling herself, okay, if he gets off at my exit or my stop, I'm going to jump off the train and I'll talk to him. And he didn't get off at her stop. He got off a little earlier, but she jumped off. So it was fun to talk about that conversation. And then finally, the last one that I have recorded, edited, ready to go, I think it's October 18th, Rob Cressy. And he talks a lot about positive mindset and how using positive affirmations and positive mindset actually saved his life. He was running a marathon and he was at mile 25.5, I think he said. And then the next thing he knew, he was waking up packed in ice in an ambulance. And he talks about how having that positive mindset basically saved his life in that moment. So that was really interesting for me. That one was fun to listen to back because I felt like it was also like a little bit of a personal coaching session and intimidated me a little bit. And I really enjoyed that aspect of it. So I hope you enjoy that episode as well and get a couple nuggets of information that maybe you can use in your own life. And that's what's so great about the Life Shift podcast. And I'm so thankful that you guys are allowing me to continue doing this by continuing to listen and to spread the word and to be willing to share your stories. I think we're creating a community here of stories that need to be told that aren't often talked about in this way, and they should be. So thank you for trusting me with your stories, and thank you for listening each week when I put out these episodes. It means a lot, and I'm so excited to get back to recording and having these conversations with people about those pivotal moments that change their lives forever. So we'll see you next week on Tuesday when I talk to Noelle on her episode of the Life Shift podcast.